Over the course of the last 8 weeks, we've presented Duck Preview virtual programs for students who are interested in starting at the University of Oregon in fall 2021. What follows is a compilation highlighting each of the UO's undergraduate schools and colleges. Another video with one of the admissions presentations, some of our student perspectives, a university housing segment, and information about financial aid and scholarships can be found here on YouTube or at virtual.uoregon.edu. Our first guest today is Dr. Angela Rovak, first-year academic advisor from the Clark Honors College. Welcome, Dr. Rovak.
Thank you very much, Cora, and thank you everyone for joining us today for this virtual Duck Preview on the Clark Honors College. I am Dr. Angela Rovak, the first-year academic advisor for the Clark Honors College, and what I do here in the Honors College is help all first-year students with that transition into college, including things like helping with scheduling and registration, helping with time management skills and study habits, but also helping you develop other strategies to help ensure your success in your first year of university. The Clark Honors College values a liberal arts approach to education. This means that we take an interdisciplinary approach with a balance between the humanities, social sciences, and sciences with the goal of establishing well-rounded individuals. This approach encourages problem-solving, critical thinking, strong written and oral communication, and teamwork and leadership skills. These are skills that every market and profession look for, so no matter what your long-term goals are, you can find a home with us in the Clark Honors College. There are many different benefits to being part of the Honors College. Some that our students particularly enjoy are priority registration. Honors College students register for their next term's classes first. So on the first day that registration opens, Honors College students are able to register. This means that students often get the classes they want and schedules that work well for their goals, and also helps ensure that they can graduate in the timeline that they want to. Another great benefit of the Honors College are our small class sizes. So with an average of 15 students per class, these seminar-style classes will really bring you together with your peers and your faculty member to create a little community that is incredibly engaged and very active. So as an Honors College student, you will take classes in the Honors College that are just for Honors College students. You will be in these discussion-based classes that really help support building close faculty mentorships and again, that community with your CHC peers. You will not only develop these strong relationships, but you also will feel very required to be present, to be active, and to be respectful. As one student has commented about her experience in our classes, she feels like everyone is required to be engaged. And engaged peers is one of those great benefits to being a Clark Honors College student. You will find your peers to be bright, motivated, and energized by the prospect of learning, and you will find that they will inspire you and you will inspire them. They will support you and you will support them along the way. So CHC students follow this curriculum of classes that are only for Honors College students and replace the UO's general education requirements. We like to think of our graduation requirements in this rule of thirds. So you will take about 1/3 of your courses in the CHC for your Honors College requirements, about 1/3 of your classes for your major requirements, and 1/3 of your classes for electives. On average, you will take about 1, maybe 2 classes within the Honors College each academic term. One great thing about the Honors College curriculum is that some of your AP, IB, and other transfer credits might help you fulfill some of your Honors College graduation requirements. There is great flexibility in our curriculum, so not only do our students fulfill and pursue all of the different majors on campus, but the flexibility also opens up the possibility of other opportunities such as study abroad. The curriculum is set up to really help you move through into more advanced classes. So you'll begin with lower division classes in all of the different disciplines, arts and letters, social science and science, and then move into higher level classes at the 400 level, also in those different disciplines. Another great thing about the Honors College curriculum is there are set up milestones that will help move you towards your final goal of your senior thesis. So you have lots of support to move forward in the curriculum and reach all of your goals. Now, you don't have to reach these goals on your own. You have a team of advisors, both within the Honors College and without the Honors College, that are here to help you get everything achieved that you want to achieve. So first is me, as I said, the CHC's first year advisor, here to support first year students in cooperation with another member of your advising team, your Honors College faculty advisor. So when you were to join us in a fall term, you would be assigned a faculty advisor, and this advisor is on your team for your entire 4 years. This faculty member is there not only to support you with scheduling and requirement questions, but is also there to help you pursue research opportunities, apply for scholarships, and prepare for your thesis. In addition to this, you also have the support of the Honors College Assistant Dean of Undergraduate Advising. This Dean of Undergraduate Advising helps with questions such as distinguished scholarships, preparing for those long-term goals, and also is in charge of our dual degree programs, such as the 3+3, 6 years to a law degree program. But again, advising doesn't stop just in the Honors College. You will also have advisors in your major or minor that are there to help with questions about those requirements and ensure you're taking advantage of those opportunities as well. So what might your first term in the Honors College look like? Here is a sample schedule for a biology major. So as you'll see in these sample schedules, Honors College students take on average 1, maybe 2 classes in the Honors College each academic term. So this biology major is taking their HC 101, Introduction to the Liberal Arts class. They chose to take this class themed Threats to Ethics, a philosophy-based class that helps balance out the science and math in the rest of their schedule as they are moving towards requirements in their biology major. Now this English first term schedule, we can see that this student is taking advantage of the flexibility of the Honors College curriculum by taking 2 Honors College classes in their first term. So they are also taking an HC 101, Introduction to the Liberal Arts. This student has chosen to take the Chemistry and Poetry of Change. But they are also taking one of their 200 level classes in the Social Sciences. So they are making good progress on their Honors College requirements while also making progress on their English requirements and pursuing their French language studies. During your time moving through the Honors College curriculum, you can look forward to moving into those upper division classes and taking our Honors College colloquia. These are seminar-style classes, again with that small class size, that are led by award-winning faculty members from across the university who come in to teach courses on their favorite topics. These are classes unlike classes you'll find anywhere else. And one of the great advantages of being in these upper division classes is that you are with your CHC peers where you get to collaborate and learn from students who are coming from a wide variety of majors. When you get to taking upper division classes in your major, you will be with other students in that major, which is a rich environment, but getting the perspectives from students who are coming from many specialties and interests really enhances the experience in these Honors College colloquia. Now, what about opportunities not just in the classroom? There are many opportunities available to Honors College students outside of the classroom, and the first one we're going to talk about is the Honors College Academic Residential Community. So all first-year Honors College students are part of the Honors College ARC regardless of where you live. So this is a residential community that we think of as a resident of the CHC. So there are some advantages to being part of the CHC ARC. First, you have priority registration if you would like to live in one of 2 residence halls on campus, Global Scholars Hall and Justice Bean Hall. If you do decide to live in one of those halls, you have the advantage of being surrounded by your CHC peers and also will have a resident assistant that's a continuing CHC student. This is a great opportunity for you to build a nice community where you are surrounded by peers and a continuing student who are going through the same experiences in the Honors College that you are going through. In addition, there are a lot of amenities for living in those residence halls and for just being part of the ARC. including access to study rooms, access to a demonstration kitchen, an ARC study hall room, music practice rooms, and of course events and programming hosted by me as the first year advisor, hosted by your Honors College peer mentors, and by the faculty director of the ARC. But our signature opportunities and programs extend beyond your first year of study. There are CHC exclusive programs that help you build towards research and professional goals, such as our partnership with the UO Knight campus for accelerating scientific impact and our summer internship program with the Oregon Health and Science University. In addition to that, of course, there's our 3+3, 6 years to a law degree program, which allows you to accelerate through a bachelor's degree and a law degree in just 6 years. We also pride ourselves on our experiential learning opportunities, including the Calderwood Seminars in Public Writing and our partnership with UO's Inside Out Prison Exchange program. These are great opportunities when you get to your upper division work in the Honors College to really participate and work with the community in new and unexpected ways. And then on top of all of these programs and opportunities, the Honors College also offers unique and exclusive study abroad opportunities for our students. So in addition to hosting study abroad locations and programs, we also have exclusive scholarships and funding to make your study abroad or travel abroad dreams a reality. Now, all of these different types of programs and opportunities are things that you can work into your plan if you join us here at the University of Oregon. In your first term, you will be asked to build a 4-year plan. I'm working with my current first-year students right now in building their 4-year plans to help ensure they can achieve all of these goals, take advantage of every opportunity they want to, and feel very prepared to reach for everything that they want to reach for. And there are many ways for Honors College students to be involved in the Honors College community. And one of those ways is through our peer mentorship program. So your peer mentors are CHC students here to provide academic, community, and personal support for their fellow Honors College peers. Now, during your first year, you may take advantage of this peer-to-peer mentorship and gain the experience and guidance of students who have gone through their first year in the Honors College, and then perhaps in the future you'd want to pay it back and become a peer mentor yourself. So this is just one of the many opportunities that CHC students have to get involved in the Honors College community. Now, at the end of your time in the Honors College, there will be a world of possibilities open to you. So Honors College graduates are accepted into some very prestigious graduate education programs in many different fields across the country. We are always so proud of all of our Honors College graduates, and we'd be very excited to see where you would go if you joined us in the Honors College as well. So thank you so much for joining us today for this virtual duck preview of the Clark Honors College. I really look forward to hearing your questions and also look forward to maybe welcoming you to campus sometime in the future. But for now, I'm going to bring back Cora and see what kind of questions have come up in our Q&A.
Thank you, Dr. Rovak. It's such a pleasure to have you here, and I know that students have lots of questions. I've been following along on my phone here. So our first question that we have actually is about the activities within the academic residential community. Can you tell us a little bit more about what kind of activities students in the Honors ARC are a part of?
Absolutely, what a great question. We're so proud of the academic residential community. So there are many different types of opportunities and events that happen there. So for one, you will have events that are organized by your CHC resident assistants that will bring you together with other of your CHC peers on your floor or in the other residence halls to really have a good socializing events and build some good community. But on top of that, we also like to emphasize how our students are very dedicated to their academics and research. So in addition to building a good social community, we also work to build a good research community and a good academic community. So I host events on student success that maybe will give you some tips and tricks for building your term or weekly schedule, building good time management and study habits, and preparing for internships or summer opportunities. And your faculty director of the ARC also loves to host some faculty dinners where he invites faculty members from across campus to have an intimate dinner with a handful of students to learn all about opportunities in that area as well. So lots of really exciting things happening in the ARC.
Thank you. You mentioned time management workshops that you're running. One question that we have here is there a major difference in the workload between the Honors College and the non-Honors College courses? And how flexible are academics at in the Honors College?
That's a great question. Now, of course, one of the things about being part of an honors college is really having that engaged experience in your classrooms. And sometimes that does come with a rigor of reading and writing that you may not experience in some of your other classes. But that sort of challenge should really motivate you and energize you to be part of this community. Because even though sometimes some things take a little bit more time in our daily schedule, they become that much more rewarding. So students across the board have found it very easy to balance their honors college work with their major work and other classes they're taking. And if you stick to that plan of taking one honors college course per term, you'll find a good balance in your daily and your term schedules.
Thank you. Another question here. Are there ways to get help if you are struggling to succeed with your classes in the Honors College? What are the academic advising and tutoring services like?
Absolutely, that's a great question. And one of those resources is me. I am always here to help students if they are having troubles with that transitions. Going into college life is a very different experience than perhaps classes and coursework and studying you've done before. Mm-hmm. So it's very common for students to have a difficult time in that transition as they build new habits. So we've worked into our first year programming lots of opportunities to work on those habits and also open up communication with me and your other advisors to receive tips and tricks to make that feel more successful. And on top of that, there are many programs across UO that have tutoring services and other sorts of more one-on-one support that we are more than ready to refer you over to, no matter what your discipline is, whether that's support for your writing skills, support for your chemistry class, or your math class, we know who to get you in contact with.
Thank you. How common is research for undergraduates?
Very common. The Clark Honors College, we prioritize that research. One of the great opportunities you'll have as an Honors College student is completing your own independent research project with your senior thesis. Now, that isn't just something we expect you to know how to do right away. We support you throughout that process to make sure that you can have the research opportunity that is very unique and specific to you. So whether that's helping you get involved in a research lab to be working with a faculty member running research right on the ground right now, whether that's learning how to use the archives at the UO Night Library, or whether that's learning how to put together a dance portfolio for your thesis project. There are many different stops and supports to help you feel really confident that you can put together a solid research project and know how to kind of move through that timeline across your 4 years.
Sounds like there's a wide variety of thesis topics that students come up with. What has been your favorite? This is a question for me. I'm always interested in what students are coming up with.
That's a great question. There are so many favorites. And because our students range across all of the different majors on campus, the types of theses really vary widely too. So while there are such fascinating ones happening in science labs, ones on determining different types of hormone receptors and things that are a little even beyond me, but I also really value the ones that bring together different disciplines into one topic, like a student who was working on, I believe, a history-based thesis, but wanted to present it by pulling in her art minor and creating that in a comic book format to really present the information in a new way. So there's lots of opportunities to be creative and to think about bringing together all of your research and academic interests into this final project.
Awesome. Okay, so this is the last one, and this is specific to, because these are students who are in their senior year of high school looking to apply. Do you have any final tips for our audience today on how to be successful in their first year of college?
Especially this year, I've learned the way to be most successful is just to be generous with yourself and learn how to self-advocate for yourself. So make sure that you know that all kinds of initial struggles or challenges are normal and that you're going to really find your groove. And we hope you find that groove with us in the CHC. But just be prepared, Be ready to do some work and be really ready to kind of adapt to brand new circumstances every day. It's going to be, you know, a fun ride for the first year, and you're going to feel really excited and energized by all of the new academic subjects that you may not have even known existed before you joined us.
Thank you so much. That's all the time that we have for questions in this segment. Students, if you want to connect with the Clark Honors College admissions staff, email them at chcadmit@uoregon.edu or explore other options at honors.uoregon.edu. Again, thank you so much, Angela. It's always a pleasure to see you.
Thank you so much, Cora, and thank you everyone for joining us.
Our first guest today is Dr. Scott Fischer, the Director of Undergraduate Studies in the Department of Physics. Scott is also a faculty fellow in university housing. Welcome, Dr. Fischer.
Thanks, Cora.
Take it away.
Thank you. Hi, everybody. As Cora said, my name is Dr. Scott Fischer. I'm a faculty member in the Department of Physics here at the University of Oregon. I'm very excited to be here with you virtually today. We've done this in person in the past, so it's a little bit different for all of us, but the excitement is real, and we're very, I'm keen to tell you a little bit about natural sciences and talk to you here for about 10 minutes or so. But as you can see me on your screen, I'm just some guy standing up here. So maybe I thought that what I would do is start off with just a little bit of my history. Turns out that my professor job here at the University of Oregon is my second career. I had a little career before this, and where I was a professional astronomer. I worked at a very large telescope facility for a long time before coming to UO. As a matter of fact, it was the fourth largest telescope at the time that I worked there. So I bring a unique sort of history here, and I'm representative of a lot of faculty at UO where we have specialized knowledge that we've brought here to the university, of course, to share with the students. What I did is I have about 15 years observing at some of the very largest telescopes in the world. I was what was called a staff scientist at the Gemini Observatory and then got involved with outreach there too. After my stint at the telescope, I spent 3 years in Washington, D.C., where I worked at a place called the National Science Foundation. And that's the arm of the United States government that funds basic research here in the U.S. And I was very fortunate, and I got to hand out about $40 million in federal grants over 3 years. And let me tell you, if you want to be a popular guy, hand out $15 million a year in grant money. Everybody wants a piece of Dr. Fischer when you're working in NSF. Look, I'm very proud of that. And one thing I'd like to say is many of the programs that I helped fund were involved in the development of STEM education, things like summer research projects for students. Can we develop programs that bridge between 2-year colleges and 4-year colleges, things like that. Can we develop students and get them involved in STEM? And I want to make a big point and say something too, that I was you. Well, wait a second. I was you some number of years ago where that number is now like 30, but I was a state school boy. I went to community college in Florida called Lake Sumter Community College, where I got a 2-year degree, an AAOT, the equivalent of something here in Oregon. And then I went back to school at the University of Florida, where I got my bachelor degree and my PhD. And I just think that's important to say because I'm very happy and proud to be back on campus. And I consider myself now a gator and a duck, both flavors in some sense. So why would you want to come to a research university like UO? And by the way, we're very proud. We're considered what's called an R1, a research tier 1 university. And here's a few things that we do really well. One of the things that I've been very, very sort of proud of, but also proud of to be involved in, is that we are a university that really combines teaching and laboratory research as much as we can. And I'm going to talk, as I go through here, you're going to hear me say the words undergraduate research a lot, because I believe that's something that we do really well here at UO. And because we have researchers that are also teaching, your instructors are the world experts in these fields. And I'd like to note here that often the folks that you are learning from, and to yourself when you get involved in our research labs, we're creating the new knowledge that will be available for tomorrow's students. We do something pretty clever here at UO, and that is we like to share, and we like to share equipment, we like to share labs, and that helps because it turns out that cutting edge research, the facilities that we use and the equipment that we use are very, very expensive. It turns out we have a $2 million microscope in a facility called CamCore here on campus. And that microscope, even though it's primarily used by one research group, other research groups can come in and use that, again, in a shared sort of way. And does one thing that's really neat. That helps us develop interdisciplinary projects. I'm going to talk about that again in a second, but secondarily, and particularly important for the folks that I'm talking to right now, this means that there are tons of opportunities for undergraduates to get involved in research. Now look, that being involved in research is a little bit, dependent on your strengths too. Now there's lots of opportunities, but we want you to come in and be very strong and be very proactive about this situation. Come in and go out and reach out and go for undergrad research and go for the opportunities that are available for you here on campus. One of the things that as an advisor on top of being a physics professor, one of the things that I've learned is that the natural sciences, in particular the ones here at UO, we help develop the skills that you can take forward into the next step past your bachelor's degree. By the way, that might be what we call a terminal bachelor's degree, where you get a bachelor's degree and move into the workforce and do really great things there. Or maybe you end up in a master's degree. You're working on a teaching certificate or something like that in a program like UO Teach. Or you want to go to graduate school, and we want to set you up with the skills that you need, that wherever you go in the next step, you're going to have the skills that you need to succeed there. Some of the top attributes that employers value, by the way, this came from a survey from an organization called NACE back in 2017, I think is when these skills were, the list was put together. But the point is this, is that leadership, ability to work in a team, being a collaborator, written skills, problem solving skills, analytical skills, strong work ethic, these are the qualities that you develop as a STEM major at UO. And we think that's very important because look, these are the days where we want you to come here and set you up to succeed in the next step also. And particularly in natural sciences, you get a lot of the skills that employers and recruiters look for in students and early career folks. We are very, very proud Ducks to say that we are a member of the Association of American Universities, and there are 65 members across the United States. And let me tell you, we're running with the big ducks here. These are our peers in this group are places like Harvard, Columbia, University of Florida, Stanford, UCLA, Purdue. These are big schools and that are highly regarded, and we're very, very proud to be part of the AAU. And our current president, President Michael Schill, has made it one of his priorities that not only are we a member of the AAU, but that our standing is in excellent shape, and he's done very well with that for the last few years. So we're very proud to be part of the AAU. Let's zoom in a little bit and ask why UO. I mean, there's lots of different schools here. The very top point is something I'm very interested about, and that is here at UO, science and your STEM education is actually embedded within a sort of a broader liberal arts education. And this is what allows us to be excellent in this idea of multidisciplinary study. Look, it may sound a little bit crazy, but we have students here at UO that are studying physics and music, for example, physics and business. We have, I personally am interested in any student that's interested in journalism and science. Please come and talk to me. We love creating science journalists here at UO. We're also among the highest research activity universities, which means that we have lots of different research projects that are going on in lots of different departments. And we're proud to say that most of our science departments rank in the top 20% of the nation. And as Cora mentioned earlier, some of our, particularly human phys, psych, our College of Education, not natural sciences, but our partners, these are ranked number 1, 2 in the country. So we've got a lot of high-speed ducks, and we want you to come here and work with them. And again, because of this multidisciplinary, the fact that this multidisciplinary scholarship is encouraged at UO, there are many unique opportunities for undergrads to get involved in research. I think that's something that we do extra well here. And how do we get you involved? Well, our campus, we have some extremely advanced laboratories and some one-of-a-kind facilities that I want to talk about just for a minute. As a matter of fact, let me show you a couple pictures of these. This is a hallway. This is a hallway in a building called LISB, the Loki Integrative Science Building. And all of the labs in that building are specifically set up to have professors from different departments to come in and collaborate on interesting projects. There's where our neuroscience program is. You have folks that are collaborating between material science and chemistry, physics and chemistry, all there in LIS. There's a lot of what we call cross-pollination happening in LIS. And then of course they asked me to do this, so I stuck one of my own favorite pictures in here. This is Pine Mountain Observatory, and it turns out I'm a director of that place too, and I get to run it for you all, for the students. And this is in Central Oregon, and it's a place that not this summer, it's closed due to COVID, we hope to be back up next summer, that you can come and do some astronomy with me. And by the way, if you want to be a physics major, you want to study astrophysics, come and talk to me and let's see if we can get you involved up at Pine Mountain. And then one of the most exciting additions to the campus, and that's just opening up right now, is this beautiful building called the Knight Campus for Accelerating Scientific Impact. It's right across the street from our science complex here in Eugene, and that's a beautiful building that is chock full of high-tech labs, meeting rooms, and offices, and again, an opportunity where our faculty can work with students on really interesting cutting-edge research projects. So come here and get involved in that stuff. Here's a little map of campus, and all of the buildings that are highlighted in yellow are science departments. And you can see we're clustered together there on one part of the campus. That's what we call the Loki Science Complex. We've got a few little smattering of science departments around the campus too. I like this picture because it shows you that, in particular, natural sciences in particular are a big part of what we do here at UO, and there's a lot of resources involved, and there's a lot of folks that are here to support you in many different ways, including things like academic advising and all sorts of stuff. Cora read off the big list of the departments that are in our natural sciences division, and you can see them right here. You can see some of them are quite common, but some of them are a little bit interesting too. We have a very strong marine biology program, we have a very strong computer information and CIS program. Data science and neuroscience are brand new, they're just coming onto the books now, and we have some traditional sciences like physics and chem and bio too. But keep in mind right at the very beginning that the ability to combine these sciences in interesting ways is an opportunity that you have when you come here to UO. I'm pretty excited about that stuff. Again, I mentioned a little bit about the support that you get when you come here, and there are academic advisors embedded in each of the departments that have specialized knowledge about our majors, but we also have a really neat place here on campus called Tykeson Hall. And in Tykeson Hall, you have another massive team of academic advisors, and by the way, our Tykeson Career Center. When you get towards the end of your studies here at UO, you go and visit the Tykeson Career Center and let them help you create a good CV. Think of, make contacts out in the realm of the private world that you may be moving into and things like that. The point being is that you got a lot of support built into the program here at UO, but you gotta go and get it. And that's gonna be one of my last points for you. What makes a successful student at a university and kind of the transition between high school and here? And really it has a lot to do with you, but these are easy things that I think that you can do to be successful, and that is, you gotta change your study habits a little bit. Here at UO, we're on a quarter system, which means each of your classes is 10 weeks long. That may sound like a long time, it's not, it goes so fast. We want you to attend office hours, we want you to take advantage of all of the resources that are here on campus, academic advising, the CMAE program, tutoring, and the AEC, the TEP program, all of these things. But students, you gotta go and get them. My favorite word here, and the best bit of advice that I can give you as you're transitioning into the university is I want you to be proactive. I want you to reach out, go and talk to your professors, go to office hours, go and check out the academic advising in your department, go to Tykeson and see what they can do you there. But you gotta reach out and get this stuff. We want you to reach out and grab your shoulder, or grab your major by the shoulders and shake it, and just get everything you can out of it. You come in and you be proactive and you go get this stuff, and you're gonna succeed here. So look, thank you very much. I would like to hand it back over to Cora. Cora, do you think we can take some questions?
We have some time for questions, and we have some good ones coming in live, and we had some come in submitted during registration. So I've got lots of questions for you. And I also want to make sure students know that we do have our health professions advising team in the Q&A as well. So particularly if you're looking at a pre-med major or physical therapy or something like that, that we do have advisors in the Q&A answering questions as well. But Sophia asks, Sophia is joining us live, and asks, what year do you suggest students start taking part in undergraduate research?
Oh, by the way, that's a great question, and I get that often from our physics majors, and it is in the physics department. And by the way, this may change a little bit between the departments. We actually think it's your sophomore year. It's your second year, and the reason is when you come in the first term, you're just a little too green. We want you to get a little experience and get you some physics chops before we bring you into the programs. But the second year is absolutely appropriate to start making these connections with your professors. But don't fret if it's not the second year. If you end up being your junior year or your senior year, get in there anytime you can. But I would say that if I had to pick for you, I'd say fall term of your sophomore year, start getting involved.
Perfect, thank you so much. Brielle asked about the environmental science major, but in general, could you break down the amount of fieldwork versus a lecture style class?
Yes, ma'am. And now look, I will say that if you want the actual from the duck's mouth information, get in touch with the advisors in the environmental science program. But this is mixed. Now this has a little bit to do with your students too, with yourself. How much field work do you want to get involved in? When you start out, it's primarily book learning and in class, as you can imagine. But often those classes have embedded in them field trips and some sort of field work that you can do. But I think that again, it's in your second and third year when you start the more specialized classes in your major. That's often where you'll get, again, this more specialized experience in that sense in doing field work. I wouldn't feel comfortable, putting a percentage on it, but there is a significant amount of field work that's involved in almost all of the physical science majors.
Thank you. So the other kinds of questions that we have, let me see. Sophia asked, how big are typical class sizes? What kind of teaching style do most professors follow? So this is along the same lines, but
sure.
I suspect the answer is similar, where it often depends on what year you are in a program.
It sure does, and again, I can speak mostly for physics, but this is pretty common throughout the natural sciences, and that is, look, in your first year classes, you might be, certainly you're going to have some big ones, especially if you take Writing 121 and some of your general education liberal arts classes, but in your majors, typically your first year classes are the big ones. Like for example, our Physics 201 class, which is algebra-based physics, that's for all the science majors that aren't physics majors, that might have 100 students, 150 students in it. So that's a lecture hall style of class. But by the time, again, that sophomore year kicks in, you're then often in major classes that are specifically for your major. And I know in physics, our 350 physics classes, which are just for the phys majors, they typically have 25 students in them. And because of that, I think as you can imagine, you typically develop a pretty personal relationship with your professors. Again, you're sort of sitting right in front of them, and I know in physics, one thing that I've been very proud to see over the last few years is many of the faculty in physics, and I know particularly in chem and bio, we have all bought into active learning. And so look, it's very rare that you're going to get just what we'll call the old sage on the stage when this person is just up there lecturing to you. You're going to do activities in class, you're going to get broken up into little small groups, you're going to be involved in clicker questions and things like that. So it's a much more active learning environment than it was for me back at Florida 100 years ago.
Do some of those large lecture classes also include smaller discussions or lab sections too?
Thank you for the prompt, of course. So let me say that, again, even in Physics 201, for example, you might have 150 students in your lecture class, but part of that class are what we call discussion sections. And there you are signed up for, again, a small group. Probably in physics it's around 20. I know in bio it's about the same, where you might have your lecture from 10 to 11 every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and then 2 to 3 on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, you go to your discussion section, and there's where you break into the smaller sections and have a little. And by the way, we love that idea too, because we like the idea of near peer mentoring, and that happens a lot in the natural sciences, and particularly in those discussion sections.
Thank you. Okay, so Sonia asked, does the University of Oregon collaborate with any external research institutions?
Absolutely we do. As a matter of fact, heck, we might even collaborate a little bit with that little school up the road in Corvallis. Oh, I know, I'm just picking. Look, we have lots of external collaborators. And let me say something, I can even make a very broad statement, I think, which I feel very comfortable saying, and that is, modern science, particularly in the natural sciences, is collaborative. The lone duck astronomer or the lone duck biologist, that just doesn't exist anymore. If you get involved in STEM, you're going to be involved in research teams. By the way, this is, again, we love the idea of collaboration, interdisciplinary work, and so we help develop that in UO in a big time. But we have external collaborators. Even in my little group here, we work with the big telescopes out in Hawaii and Chile that I used to work at. And in physics, again, I'm sorry to, it's of course my expertise, so I know the most. We are deeply involved in projects like LIGO, the LHC, and massive worldwide collaborations. So you're going to get a lot of opportunities to work with a lot of different folks.
Perfect, thank you. I also remember reading when the night campus became a new thing for us, that collaboration with OHSU, the Oregon Health and Science University, was a huge part of beginning the night campus. Wasn't that part of the deal?
Yes, ma'am. As a matter of fact, that was one of the drivers. Of course, if the folks in Oregon understand that OHSU is up in Portland, then we were down here in Eugene, and the idea of having a physical campus, which is again this massive building here on our campus in Eugene, will really facilitate a tight connection between that. And by the way, OHSU is the Oregon Health and Sciences University, and so again, it has been very interesting for me to see the development of our health sciences profession over the last few years. Big leading edge right now.
Awesome. Well, that was our last question. Thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. It's always a pleasure to see you, even if it is virtually.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you all. Look, thanks to everybody, and go Ducks.
Our first guest today is Dr. Philip Scher, Divisional Dean for the Social Sciences. Dr. Scher is also a professor of anthropology and folklore. Welcome, Dr. Scher.
Thank you, Cora. Hi, welcome everybody. We're glad to welcome you virtually to the University of Oregon. I wish I could see all of you in person and welcome you here, but we're really, really pleased that you've come today to learn a bit more about our campus and about the programs that we offer here. So let's just jump right in. We're here to talk about the humanities and social sciences, and that's quite a number of different programs on campus. But first, a little bit about the University of Oregon. We are one of 65 members of the Association of American Universities, the AAU. That is a pretty august group of institutions, and the members are the highest level of research institution in the country, both public and private. So in order to be a part of that membership, you really have to be firing on all cylinders in terms of research activity, instruction, graduate programs, et cetera. So we're really proud to be a member of that. Within the broader university, we are the College of Arts and Sciences. We are the largest college on campus and serve the largest number of students through our majors and minors. One thing that's notable, I think, about our College of Arts and Sciences is that we have some of the world's greatest researchers, our tenure track faculty, who teach classes in their areas of specialization. So while they're performing cutting-edge research in things like environmental studies and anthropology and economics, they're also doing the teaching in the classroom, and they're offering top-notch opportunities for students to work in labs, to work in state-of-the-art facilities, to help conduct that research and produce that knowledge. The other nice advantage for our students with working with top faculty is that as disciplines change, they're the ones changing it, and you will be the ones right on the front lines of how these disciplines are changing. In addition, we hope you will be gaining a wide variety of career competencies for when you transition out of Oregon and into the workplace and into your lives and careers beyond college. So, as Cora mentioned, the College of Arts and Sciences is divided into three branches. We have the humanities, the natural sciences, and the social sciences. And I'm here to speak with you today about 1 and 3 there, humanities and social sciences. In order to orient our incoming students, and actually our continuing students as well, to the way the university works, to the various programs and departments we have a standalone building called Tykeson Hall, which is really designed for you, the undergraduate student. Therein, you can get robust and 360-degree advising between your academic and your career aspirations. And so in order to make that easier and more accessible, we have what we call flight paths. These are broader, we might even call them big majors. They are areas in which students might identify a general interest, and then we help you find your pathway through that general interest. So you can see in our list here, we have healthy communities, we have scientific discovery, we have media, arts and expression, global connections, industry, entrepreneurship and innovation, public policy, society, and identity. And then within each of those, you'll find majors and minors that will help guide you through your time at Oregon. Across all the humanities and social sciences, we really are dedicated to promoting the kinds of skills that we believe and I think know to be the best skills for your career. And we come to this conclusion not simply by observation, or by guessing, but by talking to employers. Our career services group and our academic advisors are always in touch with potential employers out there in the world. And what we hear over and over from them are that they're looking for leaders. They're looking for students who can work in a team. They're really looking for people who can communicate through their written skills, their oral skills, who have problem-solving capabilities, etc. And we feel that each one of our majors, each one of our minors, all of our flight paths are designed not only to teach you the important content that you need to know within a particular career, but also these really valuable skills, because you may change careers over time. But those skills will be transferable to anything you want to do. At Oregon, we have 18 departments and programs within the social sciences with more than 150 faculty. And this is a giant list that I'm showing you right now. And this giant list I will not read, but hopefully you can take a quick look at. Really, it just gives you a sample of the scope of what I'm talking about. And one thing I do want to point out is this is not a static list. We are always adding new programs, new minors. We're always trying to be innovative and nimble and address and meet the needs of our students as they come in. If there's something that's not on this list, let us know, and we will work really hard to expand what we do to meet your needs. I want to give you a couple of examples of some of the really innovative programs that we have within the social sciences. We really strongly believe in the idea of experiential learning in addition to traditional learning. The Environmental Leadership Program is a collaborative interdisciplinary service learning program in the Environmental Studies program on campus. And what they do is they match student teams with nonprofit organizations and governmental agencies and also businesses to really take a deep dive into local environmental issues and concerns. And as a result, there are both in-classroom aspects to this program and fieldwork aspects. You're out up in the river, you're out up in, I mean, I'm not kidding, they're up in the trees, literally, trying to solve local environmental problems. We also have a rapidly growing and very popular program in global health within our Global Studies department here on campus. This is an interdisciplinary study of population and public health. It's primarily looking at it through an international perspective, although students can, through their coursework and their internships, etc., they can work locally as well to satisfy the requirements of the program. And it's very interdisciplinary, so you're taking courses in social, natural sciences, and the humanities. Speaking of the humanities, in the humanities we have 18 departments and programs as well with more than 250 faculty. And again, giant list. Again, this list is always on the move. So you can take a look here and see we have everything from cinema studies to theater arts, linguistics, medieval studies, etc. The focus here is on the expressive and creative culture around the world and in human history. And again, we are always developing new programs like our comic studies program. This is the serious and deep inquiry into the role that comics, cartoons, whether they're political cartoons or serial comic strips or Marvel comics, we look at every aspect of that world from a kind of critical and social perspective and with a humanistic angle to it. So it's really popular, you might imagine, and the nice thing about it is there's a deep connection to the whole comics and cartoon artists community up in Portland, Oregon. And so students always have a chance to go up there and learn from and meet cutting edge cartoon and comic artists and visit exhibitions and things like that. In addition, we have a very popular cinema studies program. We're well situated to have a strong program in this. We have deep connections down to the film industry. We have visiting scholars who come up who are maybe directors or art directors or production designers who come up and speak to students. You can both do the analytical side of film study or the production side. And so with that in mind, we've also created a cinema studies program in Ireland. So students can go study abroad, live in Ireland, live with Irish families, learn about the country, but also learn about their really rich film and acting and writing history. That's, of course, only scratching the surface of all the things that you can do at Oregon. one of my favorite things that the college offers is what we call academic residential communities, or ARCs. This is an opportunity for students to come in and live with like-minded students who have the same kinds of interests, who are maybe it's an ARC around the idea of Black studies, or it's an ARC around an interest in gaming or what have you. There's a wide variety of ARCs, and you both live near each other, and you also have a dedicated faculty member who helps oversee the ARC. So it's a really great way to get oriented to the university, meet new people, and jump right in. But in addition to that, we have creative writing workshops. We have the engagement through video games program. We have a slam poetry team. And you can see on our list, these are just a few of the things. And students themselves are always coming up with new things, always coming up with new clubs and ideas. In the social sciences, you can go and work with our top archaeologists in any one of a number of field schools that we have. We're actually about to start a new program in Barbados that will be looking at cultural heritage, archaeology, and at wild monkeys. So all of that in one place, which is really exciting. We have our UO Infographics Lab, which really teaches students how to map, how to visualize data, etc. And it's one of the top places to do that in the country. So our general advice to you when you come here is we want you to learn, and learning takes many shapes. And we want you to understand that when you leave here, your career may change multiple times. So what skills can we give you that will allow you to be flexible and nimble and excited about what you're doing, and give you lots of opportunities moving forward? We want you to find that major that excites you, or that minor, or combine them. You'll be much happier, and you'll do a lot better when you love the thing that you're doing. And we want you to acquire those general skills that I spoke of a little bit earlier. So that will all come through, no matter what major you do. We really want those general skills to come through, and we'll really work with you to develop those. You'll have lots of experiential opportunities, whether it's internships, working in labs, volunteering, field work, archaeological sites. There's lots of chances for you to really, in the case of archaeological sites, literally get your hands dirty. And we want you to take advantage of we're all here to help. We have a fantastic advising group, great career services, all in a brand new building dedicated to you. So we're really excited to welcome you here. And I'd like to throw it back to Cora to see if you have any questions. And I'm here to answer them as best I can.
Thank you so much. We do have some time for questions. I've been following along here on my phone with the questions coming in. We have questions come in from students when they register for the program, and we have them coming in live. So I'll take a pre-submitted one first from Nancy. Nancy is asking for you to please describe the academic culture. How do professors and students interact? Is it a high pressure atmosphere? Is there a chance to get to know professors?
Great, yeah, that's a great question, Nancy. Thanks for that. I would say the experience for students here is really different than it was for me when I was an undergraduate. The faculty here are so accessible, and it's a really collaborative studying environment, I've found. Our students tend to want to work together, but we also create environments for them to do so their success is enhanced by working with each other. And again, unlike a lot of big, research-heavy universities, where you might not see a professor that often, here you'll see them all the time. They'll be in the classroom, they'll have office hours, they'll be the ones taking you out into the community, etc. So I think it's both relaxed, accessible, but rigorous. They'll want you to do well. Your success is top of mind for them.
Thank you for that. We have some more questions coming in. Emily is asking, how many students double major or let me start over. How many students double major or take a major and a minor? How easy is it to change your major?
Yeah, that's a great question. I would say the vast majority of students, at the very least, have a major and a minor. And those two things can be very related to each other, or they can be pretty different. But what I like to think about the minors is they're very focused sets of content or skills that students can master. It shows up on your transcript. So, you know, that's a really great way to signal to an employer, you know, to somebody, you know, I have this specialization in criminology, or I have this. Meanwhile, you can major in something like anthropology or a broader discipline. So it's very common, students like it. We're always creating new minors that are what we call legible. So it's a way to really show yourself, but also others, you know, this is what I did within sociology, within the vast world of it. For example, I did this thing, and it was, let's say, you know, epidemiology or something like that, or forensics in anthropology. A lot of students like forensics. So, so I would say a lot of students do it. It's also very easy to do. It's easy to double major. It's easy to major and have several minors. And you're not locked in. A major isn't a prison of some kind. You can always change. It's very easy to change. So we try to be as flexible as possible. You know, we want students to be able to declare their majors and minors early enough to succeed and fulfill all the requirements. But we will definitely work with you to make sure you don't get stuck in something that you don't like.
Thank you for that. And for you students who are watching, you'll actually get to meet one of our current students who has a double major and a double minor here in a few minutes. So buckle in for her. Cameron is asking us live, how hard is it to participate in opportunities outside the classroom, like studying abroad, working in labs, or internships?
Yeah, great question. That is, I would say, our number one priority right now. Is we refer to that as experiential learning. And there isn't really just one way to have an experiential learning opportunity. And you've listed some of the main ones. So we have a robust study abroad office through our, Global Engagement Office. Many, many different, in fact, always changing and growing. And the Barbados one I just mentioned is brand new. And I mentioned that one because that's where I study, and so I work in the Caribbean, so I'm encouraging all students to try that out. But it's not hard. And also, you know, we're trying to make study abroad accessible to everybody. As you mentioned, Cora, we want to be an inclusive campus. But for those who don't want to study abroad, there's lots and lots of internships. As an example, I went to a sort of internship forum for the environmental studies program about a year or so, 2 years ago. And I was just astonished at how many different organizations came with their tables and their booths and talked to students. I mean, I think there were 40 different opportunities just in environmental studies. And everything from, you know, looking at the wolf population in Oregon to clean water to soil, you know, all these different environmental issues coming up. And that's just, I mean, all of the departments and programs have numbers of these. Sociology has a number, anthropology. So it's really, really important. And of course, in the natural sciences and in some of the social sciences, lab opportunities are abundant. And they're very, very important to us. Yeah.
Thank you. Okay, so this is going to be our last question. I'm hoping I'm saying her name right. Kamali is asking, in your opinion, what is something that makes the UO unique?
Just one thing. I think it would be unique if it only had one thing that made it unique. Yeah. But I would say really the connection to where we are. We're really rooted in the Pacific Northwest. It's a beautiful place to be. And it's deep, the Pacific Northwest and our campus specifically is really connected to the rest of the Pacific, whether that's the indigenous communities in the Pacific or whether it's the Pacific Islands or whether it's Asia. We're also a campus that's very connected to Latin America. And so we have strengths. I would say we have scholarly and experiential strengths in those areas. That's not the only thing. But we also have, because we're in this landscape, we have and attract a lot of study and research and our dedicated faculty to the environment and to a sustainable future. And really across multiple disciplines. And we use every tool and engage students in every way, from big data all the way to you know, interviewing local community members about their environments. We do folklore surveys across the state. So I would say one of the things that makes us unique is our deep connection to where we are in the world.
Thank you so much for all of that. That's all the time that we have for questions in this segment this afternoon. I'm really excited that you were here to join us during your time here on campus. So thanks so much.
Thanks so much. It's great to virtually meet everyone, and go Ducks, and we hope to welcome you onto campus as soon as we can. Thanks.
Our first guest today is Charlie Just. Charlie is a recruiter and first-year admissions coordinator in the Lundquist College of Business. While Charlie is presenting, again, please ask us your questions using that Q&A feature. He has several colleagues in there answering your questions. And I'm going to turn things over to Charlie now. Hi, Charlie.
Thanks for that introduction, Cora. Again, my name's Charlie, and I work with students who are interested in any of our business programs as they come into the University of Oregon. So any business-related questions, feel free to get a hold of me or my colleagues in the Q&A. We've got a couple of students in there, an academic advisor who works with business and accounting students, and you'll hear from one of our business students a little after I'm done. I also get to work with our academic advising team. So I'm part of the student support services team that works with you, not just as you come into the University of Oregon and our business programs, but right on through until the day of graduation. I want to start by overviewing our academic programs really quickly. And as Cora mentioned, we do have two majors. The first one I'll talk about is accounting. We do have an excellent set of faculty, research faculty in the School of Accounting, who are the #1 in tax research in the country. Our program is very CPA, or Certified Public Accountant, exam oriented. We actually have academic advisors to help you with your course selection process and a lot of other student support services opportunities throughout your curriculum. But the reason I bring that up is because we do also have a faculty mentor who is there to help you map out not just your academic plan to graduation, but also the CPA eligibility piece, whether you're thinking about taking that CPA exam and being an accountant in Oregon or any other state. Her name is Michelle Henney, and she also teaches Business 101 and several other topics here in the business curriculum. Accounting is one of the areas where we do offer a 3+1 program. What a 3+1 program is at our College of Business is if you're like me and you have 0 incoming credits from high school, that's perfectly okay. You can finish any of our programs on time in 4 years. A lot of students do have the opportunity to earn some credits in high school before they start their freshman year through dual enrollment community college programs, AP or IB exams as well. If you have a decent number, usually the minimum is about 20 credits or so, we might be able to talk to you your freshman year and see if you're interested in a career in accounting. And if so, we can sometimes advise you on through the curriculum in 3 years, which opens up that 4th year for a master's degree in accounting instead of the typical senior year. If you're interested in those, then talk to one of your advisors the fall of freshman year. Again, if you have 0 incoming credits, it's perfectly okay, and you can still finish on time in 4 years. If nothing else, I think that's a good example of how us advisors are always advocating for what's best for you as a student. Our second major is business administration, which is the single most popular major on the U of O's campus for incoming freshmen. Within business, we do have a bunch of different concentrations that you can choose from. Marketing is often compared to advertising because they overlap a bit when it comes to career opportunities in industry. However, in the academic setting, advertising is a little bit different, and over in the School of Journalism and Communication, which I believe will be part of Duck Preview Day here in a few weeks at the beginning of December. Advertising is very creative design side of the industry, whereas our marketing students and faculty tend to focus on the little bit more behind the scenes marketing research that goes on that informs what those people create when it airs and who the target audience is. I'm a huge fan of our finance faculty and students because I think the industry in finance has a bad reputation, and oftentimes that is well-deserved. Our students and faculty tend to focus on finance as a force for good with measurable environmental and social benefit rather than just making money and return on investment. I think that speaks a lot to the culture of our faculty and our students at the University of Oregon. Operations and business analytics is all about how to tell a story using data. Entrepreneurship is one of the areas of specialty that we have at the Lundquist College of Business that's a little unique. One of the things that I like is Kate Harmon teaches her students how to not just start or found their own company, but how to get into a pre-existing large, medium, or small corporation and innovate and streamline from within. Oftentimes students can do that once or twice, maybe 3 times, and then they've got enough experience and resources saved up to then get out and found their own company. Entrepreneurship at the U of O is also the designated extension from the Lundquist College of Business over to the Knight campus for accelerating scientific impact. So I'm sure you'll hear lots of folks around campus talking about our new $1 billion scientific research facility. The idea there being that entrepreneurship students and faculty will be able to help those scientific researchers get their new bodies of knowledge or products out of the academic environment and into the real world and industry faster than a lot of universities can. That research is great, but it's not great for society if it just sits on someone's desk at a university. So we want to really have impact that changes the world. Sports business is a very popular area and a strong suit for us, a long-standing history. Whitney Wagner is the director of that program and a graduate herself, who then went on to work for the NFL in New York for several years before coming back to teach in our classes. She always says, if you can take your fan hat off and put your business hat on, then you can work in sports business. Sports is really the one area that takes all these different functional areas that I've talked about before, from accounting on through these business concentrations, and focuses them all into one specific industry that is an area of specialty for us. So if you want to be an accountant or a financial analyst or a marketing executive for a sports team or athletic company, that's the kind of stuff that you can do in sports business. Our clubs and professional organizations, just a few are listed here. They're all very industry and alumni facing. So you'll learn quite a bit, of course, in your classes and from your faculty. Your faculty advisors for these clubs and organizations help you prepare for the job search process and get out into industry. An example is Beta Alpha Psi is our accounting fraternity, which is an example of an academic rather than a social fraternity or sorority. Anyone who's interested in accounting can join Beta Alpha Psi. That's the second oldest accounting fraternity in the country. And they do have a lot of networking opportunities with corporate recruiters, and then a lot of different accounting internship opportunities and work and volunteer opportunities as well. Many of these are based on your area of interest as far as a career or an academic area is concerned. Many of these clubs and organizations are identity-based as well for specific populations of students. Other areas of interest outside of the classroom include things like our business academic residential community. If you wanted to live near other like-minded students your first year on campus, you can do that in a business community or one of the many other ARCs around campus. We just moved into Justice Bean Hall, which is newly renovated and gives us the opportunity to kind of cross-pollinate and get to know some different ARCs on campus, like the environmental leaders, and work on projects collaboratively with different groups. Justice Bean Hall is also right next to Matthew Knight Arena, which is our basketball stadium, and our dean and her husband are huge basketball fans. So I'd love to maybe do a dinner and a game night with the dean one day. The academic residential community, whether it is my idea of dinner and a game night, or the accounting faculty coming to the residence hall for social nights with students to get to know them, or advisors coming to the hall to get to know students on their turf rather than making them come across the campus to the business building for advising. The ARC is really an example of how we're trying to make your life easy during that transition to college. Another one of these that I'm a huge fan of is the Professional Edge series. That's a series of non-credit bearing weekend classes, so you'll learn quite a bit in your courses regardless of which major or concentration you choose, of course. Occasionally, we can bring a mid to senior level manager back from industry to teach things like beginning or intermediate Google data analytics or Tableau skills, things like that outside of class. That helps students get the edge they need when they get ready for the job and internship process. We do have our own honors program, and I'm sure as an incoming student, you'll probably hear quite a bit about the Clark Honors College, which business and accounting students can do. I like to describe them both at the same time because they're distinct from one another and you can do one or the other or both. The Clark Honors Program is all 4 years that you're at the U of O, and it is a research-based program. The Business Honors Program, though, is your last 2 years of college, which means that admission to Business Honors as a departmental honors program is primarily based on what you've done during your first couple of years on campus at the U of O versus what you've done in high school. So there's nothing you need to be worried about as far as application processes are concerned right now. It's also an experiential learning-based program without the research component. These students take their upper division core classes together as a cohort and have a lot of opportunities to network and go travel around the country when we're able to do so. One example is last December, I got to go with the business honors students to San Francisco to go visit a bunch of different companies, which is essentially the equivalent of the MBA level site visit trip, but the business honors students get to plan it for themselves. As far as student support services are concerned, there is quite a bit around the University of Oregon. There's a big initiative to prioritize student support services, and we've had a long-standing history of those in the College of Business as well. You have your own academic advisors who specialize in just the business and accounting curriculum, whether you're a full major, have one of our minors, or just a couple of classes. We're here to support you every step of the way, whether it's things like choosing classes for the next term or figuring out how to navigate your transition to college. We do have our own more career services office as well. They focus on advising for your internship and life after college. That will be part of the curriculum here in the near future, where all students in the future will have to have some kind of interaction, whether it is the classic job or internship, things like that, or a career readiness component in order to graduate from the Lundquist College of Business. We focus on career readiness, and they are not letting the remote learning environment take advantage of them. So one example of what they've been doing recently is getting on board with a new AI resume screening and interview program where you can record an interview and send it off, and artificial intelligence will review your resume or recorded interview, your mock interview, and give you feedback. Part of the reason we do this is because a growing number of really large corporations rely on artificial intelligence to screen resumes, and so we want our students to be competitive in getting through that first round of AI screening so that you could talk to a person on the other end. We do have our own tutoring services, free group tutoring for many of our courses that are either required or known to be quite difficult as well. So we're here to support you in and out of the classroom. For scholarships, as an incoming student, I usually recommend that you focus on the scholarships that will be mentioned a little bit later today by admissions counselors and financial aid counselors at the U of O. Just know that once you get to campus, there are a lot of other opportunities. The U of O's College of Business typically awards about $500,000 in scholarships each year. But for now, focus on the large merit-based scholarships that you can earn as an incoming student. And then we'll be here to support you if you apply for our scholarships later on. We do have two paths to admission. The first one is first-year direct admission. Any student who applies for a fall term as an incoming freshman and declares a business or pre-business major is automatically considered for direct admission to the major. Over time, our staff and faculty have noticed that students work really hard in high school, and they've come up with a way to reward that hard work. Students who are admitted their first year have the ability to proceed into the junior and senior level courses whenever they're ready. They don't have an application process, and they can still switch into something else if you happen to get here as a direct admit business major and decide that your passions lie elsewhere. So there's no harm done, but it does give you a nice little advantage to be able to just take the classes whenever you're ready. Most students start as pre-business. And the reason I bring up the differences between these two is because what I want you to take away from today, whether you are automatically considered for direct admission, which doesn't require an additional application process, it just requires applying to the U of O and choosing business, or standard admission where you start as a pre-business student, you're really competing against yourself, not your peers, for admission to the major. What you need to know is we're not the type of school or university that pits its students against each other for a really small number of spaces in our business and accounting majors. We're also not the type of school that admits for an academic area, so it's not like one of those majors or concentrations is necessarily easier to get into or things like that. What we want you to do is maintain a minimum 3.0 core GPA, take the core business classes we tell you to take in advising, and then you're guaranteed admission to the major. There is a very competitive process for a small number of spaces for students who fall a little bit shy of that 3.0. So just know you're not competing against your peers, you're competing against yourself to study business at the U of O. When I talked about taking those classes we tell you to take, these are the ones. Everything at the College of Business starts with Business 101. The reason I show you the rest of them is not to overwhelm you, but because, like I mentioned earlier, sometimes students have the opportunity to maybe get some of these done before they get to the U of O. So if you're able to get things like macro or microeconomics, financial or managerial accounting, calculus or statistics, or maybe a writing class done before you get here, then great. But otherwise, this is pretty much the bulk of the required classes your freshman and sophomore year before you start the junior and senior level business courses. If you can get them done before you get here, excellent. If not, we'll support you on through these classes and then junior and senior year. With that, I think we do have some time for questions that might have come in. Do you have any questions for me, Cora?
We do. We have
Thank
a few
you.
questions. Jonathan asked a question earlier when you were talking about the concentrations and is wanting to know whether or not a student can choose not to have a concentration if they're studying business administration.
They can, absolutely. The way it works is all business students have 7 upper division, so junior and senior level elective classes to choose, and you can just pick the ones you want if you want to graduate with a general business degree and customize your degree. You can do that and finish on time in 4 years. You could choose one of our concentrations, which then takes some of those 7 and focuses them on a specific area like finance or sports business or whatever the case. If you're an accounting major, those 7 are predetermined for you and related to the CPA exam.
Got it. Okay, perfect. So Lucas is asking live. Never mind. That one skipped over. Ellie is asking live, what's a good example of another academic program that would pair well with a business major or minor?
Very good question. With a business major, we actually have a built-in area. It's called the non-business breadth. We always say you don't usually do business in business, you usually do business in tech or entertainment or athletics, whatever the case is. So we actually do require students to take a decent number of courses, maybe a minor outside of the College of Business. So it really just depends on what your interests are. If you want to do kind of marketing advertising, then you can kind of cross over between journalism and communication and business. If you want to do sustainable business practices and take a bunch of natural science courses, or maybe even be a student who studies natural sciences with a sustainable business minor, you can do that and maybe go to physical therapy school, but then specialize in sports business and working with athletes, things like that. It's really customizable. Non-business courses and going abroad are built into the curriculum for students who can or want to study abroad or learn about other cultures.
Thank you. Michael asked in advance during registration, what makes the University of Oregon unique?
The University of Oregon unique? I think if you're looking for a top tier research university that's in a college town setting in a rainforest, which we're definitely in the middle of the rainy season as of today, I would say. I think we're just about it for a small town that's not too small that there's nothing going on, but also not too large that there's like tons of population or traffic pollution or traffic and things like that. I think we're just kind of the sweet spot as far as the size of university and city are concerned. I think there are a few different academic areas that make the Lundquist College of Business pretty unique. Some of them are like our emphasis on social and environmental responsibility in finance, or sports business and entrepreneurship are unique for many business schools as well around the country.
Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Okay, William has asked, what year do business majors typically do internships?
Ooh, internships? Kind of whenever you're ready or want to. I've even had some freshmen start with internships like right after they get here. So I think the career services team does not like to be thought of as the people who just hand out or dole out the internships and jobs and things like that. They're really there to help you figure out what your career, professional, and personal goals are in life, and then come up with a roadmap on how to get there. We can do some of that in academic advising, and then when it comes to jobs and internships, that's their area of expertise as well. So it's never too soon.
Got it. But it is too late sometimes, right? You could wait till the spring term of your senior year and
Yeah, it's always good to start working with them early on. Don't let your first time going to a career advisor be right, a month before graduation.
Okay, so our last question, and we're going to go back to Lucas because I scrolled through it earlier. So apologies to Lucas. Lucas has always liked math and is doing calculus now. What areas in business are more focused in math?
Ooh, yeah. We do require the one calculus course and one statistics course, so it's great to get some experience in those before you get here. Beyond that, our more mathy, numbers-oriented areas in business are probably things like accounting and finance, which are the two where we have those 3+1 programs. Operations and business analytics is very data-oriented as well. So if you want to do really, it's about telling the story with data analytics or getting into maybe a little bit of operations and logistics type work as well.
Thank you so much. As I mentioned, that was our last question, and that's all the time that we have for questions for this segment. And I just want to thank you so much for your time today and all the info that you shared for our prospective Ducks. Thanks so much, Charlie.
Thanks, Cora. Go Ducks!
Our first guest today is Charlene Liu. Charlene is the Associate Dean of Academic Affairs in the College of Design, as well as the Director of the School of Art. While Charlene is presenting, please ask us your questions in that Q&A. As I mentioned, she has colleagues there answering questions as well, and she'll be answering some of your questions live after her presentation. Hi, Charlene.
Thank you for the introduction, Cora. Hello and welcome. Usually we'd be here together in person to answer your questions in tour our classrooms, studio spaces, and shops. But I'm happy to connect here and tell you more about the degrees and programs we offer in the College of Design. I'll take you through some slides and provide an overview, and we'll be answering questions, of course, at the end. The College of Design is a hub of creativity at the university, and our college includes the School of Architecture and Environment, the School of Art and Design, the School of Planning, Public Policy and Management, and a Department of the History of Art and Architecture. It's a very diverse ecosystem, and I can only touch upon some of the things that we have to offer here in our college. We offer small class sizes, 15 to 20 students, giving you personalized instruction and networking opportunities. And I really feel that in a small class size, you really get to know your peers and you meet your future colleagues out in the workplace. It's a vibrant, collaborative, interdisciplinary environment. We emphasize studio learning, and we also emphasize experiential learning out in our community and in our diverse environments. You will gain the ability to question critically, think logically, communicate clearly, act creatively, live ethically, and of course, as well as to design, build, make, and prototype. I'm going to tell you a bit about the Department of History of Art and Architecture. In the department, they offer a 4-year bachelor's degree, a minor, and an honors program. You will develop competency in visual literacy, analytic and communication skills, and cultural and historical awareness. You'll have the opportunity to examine collections up close at both of the university museums, the Jordan Schnitzer Museum of Art and the Museum of Natural and Cultural History. They're two major cultural arts institutions in the region, and they have amazing artwork. You also will be able to take a look at a special books collection and printed matter in our own design library. And I've had many students who have interned or worked at the museums, helping put on a show, learning how to put together a curatorial project, collections management, and public engagement. These are all professional experiences that lead to potential careers as a museum curator, an art dealer, an appraiser, a gallery manager, an archivist, educational program manager, and conservator. And I do want to say that some of the great classes they offer range from the age of art and Bernini to American architecture and the history of manga. In the School of Art and Design, and this is the home where I teach, we offer 4-year bachelor's degrees in art and technology, and product design, and we also offer a Bachelor of Fine Arts degree in art and technology, and product design. We have many small studio classes and hands-on learning, and specialized shops from photography labs, digital fabrication, metalworking, weaving, mold making, video production, and interactive art production, just to name a few. There are many exhibition opportunities on campus gallery spaces and also in our town. Faculty have active professional practices with national and international exhibition records. And I think it's really wonderful to be able to work with faculty that actually are quite active out in their field. I often hire myself as a practicing artist, students that assist me with putting on shows or putting together a public art commission. And this gives them a sense and some experience on the business side of art making. Product design students will learn about idea generation, prototyping, materials, and manufacturing to create functional products. Art students will create work across ceramics, digital arts, drawing, fibers, jewelry, metalsmithing, painting, photography, printmaking, and sculpture. And our art and technology students combine creative practice in new media with courses in video art, game art, animation, imaging, programming, design, and interactivity. I'm actually sitting in my studio today, and I know the wall behind me is quite blank, but on the other side where you can't see, it's filled with artwork, materials, and a lot of equipment, very typical of classrooms and spaces that you would find in our college. In the School of Planning, Public Policy, and Management, we offer a 4-year bachelor's degree and minors in 3PM and nonprofit administration. You'll learn about how society is designed and how people and places support each other, and you're going to work with communities, governments, and organizations in classes and through a very robust internship program. Our students in 3PM really make a difference by focusing on sustainable communities, equity and access, and a public good. It's a very experiential learning place, and they have many fantastic programs and many projects working out in the community. And I think if you go to our website, you'll take a look at some of our recent news stories that can tell you more about specific projects and the work that our students are engaged in. In the School of Architecture and Environment, we offer degrees in architecture, landscape architecture, and interior architecture. Our programs are rooted in research and driven by our commitment to civic responsibility, environmental sustainability, international understanding, and interdisciplinary education. Our programs are consistently ranked and well-known in sustainable built environments, adaptive and resilient design, and healthy built environments. I think one program that's pretty exciting, and I would encourage you to take a look at the website, is the Design for Spatial Justice Faculty Fellows Program and the School of Architecture and Environment. They are working with visiting scholars on such exciting projects as The City is a House, in which students work with the visiting faculty to design 3 movable shelter structures on wheels. And they really ask the question about how can we rethink dignity, design, and shelter in an urban landscape. Studio spaces are also very an emphasis in this program, and you will be able to work with cutting-edge digital technology, materials, tools, and other supplies to create the work. Outside of the classroom, we have many active student organizations across all disciplines. And on the slide, you'll see a few of them. Some of the things that I'm particularly looking forward is the Hopes Conference coming up, which is a student-led conference in which they bring together scholars and thinkers and designers to talk about really pressing topics in our society today. And also another event I've always really enjoyed is the Comic and Zines Festival that many of our students have put on every year, in which they gather together artists and designers from the community and in our own student majors to put together a tabling event and share their comics and zines work. We also have a art and design academic residential community in which students live and work together in a residence hall to develop creative art and design projects in maker and exhibition spaces. And one of the other opportunities that we have are study abroad programs that really take you to study architecture in Rome. You might learn about sustainable bike pathways in Europe, or make studio work in the Greek islands. And I really encourage you to also check out some of the study abroad programs that we offer, including the virtual opportunities that are happening right now. In the College of Design, we also have student services, and this is a team of really fantastic academic and career advisors that can connect you to resources and help you build an actionable plan that takes you from your academics into the workforce. They'll be here to help you explore internship opportunities, of which we offer many in our college, to help you clarify your career goals, apply your academic learning, enhance and learn new skills, gain experience, and network with professionals. We also have many career events and other networking events throughout the year. Students enrolled in a College of Design major are also eligible to apply for more than 100 scholarship offerings that range from $2,000 to $4,000 a year. And I feel like that concludes my overview of our program, and I'm here to take any questions that you might want to ask. And we also have our advisors and faculty on hand.
Thank you so much. We do have a few questions that come in. One question that came in before the program during registration was from Abigail. And Abigail asked, what does the admissions board look specifically for when submitting a portfolio?
Well, there are different specifications for every program regarding the portfolio, but I can definitely answer this question that I think applies to all portfolio submissions for any application process. And I think the first thing to think about is that it really is an opportunity for you to showcase your interests and your creative talents. And I would also say the most important thing is that it's legible. So what we want to be able to know is what we're looking at. So I encourage you to make sure that your images and your documentation is well lit, it's bright, it's clear, and that you communicate as effectively and clearly as possible in a visual format. And that also includes the description that you might include in the portfolio.
Perfect. And it looks like that question actually came in live from a couple other students. So hopefully we answered that question for those who asked that live. I'll go look for another question. It looks like Jack is asking us if I've never done anything with architecture before, but I'm really interested in taking classes at the U of O in architecture. Will my lack of experience hinder my ability to take these classes?
No, absolutely not, because we don't expect anyone to come in ready to practice architecture or ready to, launch their. It's possible, but we definitely know that you're here to explore and to learn. So many of our programs offer exploratory courses for non-majors and also introductory courses for people that are quite interested and are ready to explore more about the field. And I also just encourage you in general to take a look at our website and read up about the field, and that's going to give you a lot of information and give you a sense of if it's something that you like to explore even further. So don't worry, definitely take whatever you're interested in. That's what you're here for in college.
Thank you. During registration, Hannah asked us, what are your study abroad programs? And more specifically, does UO offer any special study abroad programs for students in the College of Design?
They do, and I feel like I had a little list somewhere in my notes because there are so many to name, and some of the ones I'm thinking about are you can go study weaving in Siena, you can study architecture in Rome, you can go create art on a Greek island. That's the one that I've been thinking I'd like to go to, and also I think there's a program recently that was about mapping in Hong Kong, where you really explore the urban and the wild environments and how they intersect in the city. And so one place to go is to just take a look at our Global Education Oregon website, and there you can take a look and search through all the programs that are offered, including some international internship opportunities.
And would a student talk about those with their academic advisor, or how do they get connected with those outside of just visiting the GEO website?
Your academic advisors and also our faculty advisors, we're all here to help you answer these questions and explore what you might want to do.
Okay. So live, Alison asked us live, what makes your architecture program better than other schools?
Well, we are really known for environmental justice work and work with an environment and sustainable environments. And I do think that the program is consistently ranked, and that's why people come here, and that's what attracts faculty. I'm quite excited by our faculty fellow program, which brings in some of the leading scholars that really talk about intersectional, issues in architecture, which I think is so key to thinking about our future and how to create a more just and caring world. And so I do, and I'm not biased. Well, I am biased, but I do think it is a program of amazing faculty, and it is quite well known nationally and internationally in this area.
Well, I will admit my bias. I've had several students who I've employed over the years who are fantastic architecture students, and some of my best friends were architecture majors when we were students here many, many years ago. So I have a little bias, so I'll take that one for you. Our last question today for you is actually one that's pretty general. It seems like it's coming in quite a bit, and basically students want to know if you could speak about the studio spaces available and the kind of access to studios that students have as a student in the College of Design.
I think this is the one that was really hard that we couldn't be able to share with you through a tour, because our facilities are quite extensive. It covers multiple areas on campus and maybe across like 10, 12 buildings, including some buildings downtown. But they range very, I guess some of the ones I've already spoken to are, we have a lot of digital fabrication resources, and we have metalworking shops, mold making, ceramics, photography, digital and analog, darkroom. We also have architecture studios that students spend many, many long hours in. And I think we also have, most of them are shared communal shops and also wood shops. I think the list goes on. It is one of the most exciting reasons to come to this college, because we do have really extensive, broad and deep facilities available to you to make your work, and the methods to learn a really diverse range of fabrication methods. And I think that this really, really speaks to traditional to cutting edge digital technologies. And really, that has always been one of the most exciting blends about our program here. And I would say that back to, I feel like I want to go back to a portfolio question a little bit, because I'm thinking that maybe one of the questions there is exactly what should I highlight or showcase in a portfolio?
Yes.
Because now that I'm talking about facilities, I'm thinking about this. I do think that for any and I think this can apply to architecture, art and design, product design. Some of you may have taken art classes and have artwork that you can include in your portfolio, and some of you may not, but I don't think that should hinder anyone from thinking about applying. And really, if you have, for instance, a practice of drawing and you like to make things, I think that these are all things that you can document and present in a portfolio. And they would really give us some insights to what you're interested in and what your talents and creative interests lie.
Thank you for that. So that's all the time that we have for questions in this segment. There are still folks in the Q&A who are from the College of Design who can answer your questions as well. Thank you so much, Charlene, for your time today and all of the info that you shared with our prospective ducks.
Thank you, Cora. Thank you, everyone.
Our first guest today is Bob Ponto, who is the Assistant Dean of Admissions and Financial Aid in the School of Music and Dance. Again, while Bob is presenting, please ask your questions using that Q&A feature. A couple of his colleagues are answering your questions there, and he'll answer some of them live on camera when he's done with his presentation. Hi, Bob. How are you?
Hey, Cora. How are you doing? Can you hear me okay?
We can. I'm totally great. And I'm going to turn things over to you.
Fantastic. Well, hello, everyone. Again, I'm Bob Ponto. I serve as the Assistant Dean here at the School of Music and Dance. And I just wanted to talk a little bit about some of our music offerings for anyone who might be interested in that good stuff. First of all, just so you know, we don't just help music majors. We help folks who are interested in any type of music, regardless of their discipline or the particular major they're involved in. So we have all kinds of ways to be involved with music here at the University of Oregon. One is, of course, you can play or sing in our various ensembles, and we've got just about every kind possible. I mean, everything from traditional orchestras and bands to hip hop ensembles, a cappella groups. I mean, if you can think of it, we probably have one. So there's a place for everyone. You can take music classes. We have a tremendous number of offerings, ranging from Bach to Beatles to, music of the protest in the 60s. I mean, there's a wide variety of courses possible to take. Another possibility is to be a music minor. We have 3 different minors available for students who might be interested in that. We can talk about that in a little bit. And of course, if you want to do the deep dive in music, you can actually choose to be a music major. And I'll talk a little bit about how that works. For those of you who might be interested in becoming a music major, there's a couple of really important things to remember. The first is the application process is a little bit different for music majors. First of all, of course, you complete the University of Oregon application, and that's, of course, available through the University of Oregon admissions website, the coalition application or the common application. But then in addition, we want you to complete a separate application for the School of Music and Dance. And that's available on the School of Music and Dance website under the heading of Apply. So make sure you do both of those. Otherwise, we might not know that you're interested in becoming a music major. And also, it's good to remember that most, not all, but most of our music major programs are 4 years of coursework. In other words, you're a music major on day one of your freshman year until the day we bid farewell on your last day of your senior year. So that's why we want to make sure that we're in touch with you and in communication with you before you arrive on campus. So kind of keep that in mind. A little bit about our majors. As I said, most of our majors are 4-year programs. These kind of break into our Bachelor of Music courses. Those are kind of what we call our professional degrees, the ones that kind of line you up for a particular kind of career in music. Jazz studies under the Bachelor of Music. That's you learn how to improvise, learn the art of jazz, learn how to arrange and compose in jazz. Music composition, which for us is contemporary classical. Music education, for those of you who might be interested in teaching in the schools. Music performance, for people who are interested in a classical, traditional, conservatory type education. And then in our Bachelor of Arts programs, we have music history and literature. Sometimes that's called musicology. That's the study of the history of music. Music technology, which is electronic music. And then music theory. Now, our 2-year programs, 2 years of curriculum, we have essentially 2 of them that we have both under the Bachelor of Arts and Bachelor of Science categories. The first one is just a general music major. It's a kind of choose your own adventure major where you get to select a lot of the coursework that you might like to take to learn more about music. These also don't require any audition or portfolio to get into. And then our popular music studies. And with this, you can choose different tracks. Some people want to be singer-songwriters. Some just want to learn about pop music. Others are interested in the music industry. So we have different tracks depending on your interests. And then in addition to those under the Bachelor of Arts, we also have those under the Bachelor of Science. The music part of those programs are exactly the same. It's just your general studies that will change depending on whether you choose a Bachelor of Arts or Bachelor of Science. Our minors, as I mentioned before, we have 3 of them. One is audio production, and that's like, how to work in a studio, a professional studio, how to set mics, how to mix, how to do all those things that's involved in modern audio production. Our music studies is another general type of program, and that is, again, where you have a lot of choices from which you can take different courses and kind of shape your own degree. And then music technology is similar to our music technology major, just not with quite as much coursework involved, but it's for those that want to learn about electronic music and how to create it. We have professional development opportunities. If you're going to music and that's your career, your vocation, it's not like a lot of other areas where you go directly from the major, and you work for a company or something like that. You've really got to be entrepreneurial and a self-starter if you want to make it in the music business. So we do everything we can to help. We have professional residencies where we bring experts on campus, people who are really doing it in the real world, and they give us their secrets. We have networking fairs where you can deal with meet people that are in the industry. Of course, performance opportunities, because that's what music people do. We can't not perform. So there's a lot of those possibilities. Our music industry collective, which is a group of students from different disciplines that are interested in the music industry, and they get together and share ideas, bring in guest speakers. And of course, the University Career Center is another super important resource for us. We have a lot of alumni. I could go on and on about it. I chose these because these are just kind of interesting people from different eras. Ralph Towner was one of the head of a jazz fusion group called, of all things, Oregon, that was very popular in the 70s. Really interesting group. John Appleton, back in 1965, probably not a household name to you, but very important in the electroacoustic music world, especially in the early days. I don't know if you've ever heard the theme to the X-Files, for example, but if you ever have, there's a theme there. It's sounds kind of whistly. That's an instrument that John Appleton designed and created, so it's still in use today. Douglas Hofstadter, brilliant mind, won the Pulitzer Prize back in 1980 for a book called Gödel, Escher, Bach, The Eternal Golden Braid. It's actually one of my favorite books. It breaks my brain every time I read it, but it's absolutely fascinating amalgamation of math, art, and music. Dan Levitin, who's a cognitive scientist and sound designer, and wrote this wonderful book called This Is Your Brain on Music, which I highly recommend. Peter Hollins is a singer, YouTube artist, producer, and founder of our a cappella group On the Rocks. And I think we're going to hear from him in a little bit. Josh Deutsch, who is a wonderful jazz trumpeter, played in my groups back in the days when I was the director of bands here. And he won a Grammy last year for his album Back to the Sunset. Brilliant artist. And then Wind, one of our wonderful hip hop artists, and someone you are going to hear from if you haven't already. And I just want to say, even though this, looks like a diverse group of people, I think the thing that is unique about the School of Music and Dance is we love folks who are very creative and think outside the box. And if you look at these, all of these folks have kind of created really interesting paths in music, which may not be that traditional. So we really, really, really value folks who are creative in every way and belong to what we call the hyphenated musician. Not only do you play or sing really well, but you bring in the world into your music making. So, Cora, we've got some time for questions if you're up for it.
I am. Are you?
I am.
Okay. So our first question came in from Jackson during the course of registration for this program. And Jackson wants to know, do I have to apply to the music school or any of the schools separately, pardon me? Can I take classes from all of the schools on campus?
Yeah, now, of course, I can only speak for the School of Music and Dance, and our courses are basically open to everyone. So you don't have to be a major or minor to take any of our courses. If you want to be a major, then as I mentioned before, we do have a separate application process. So you want to follow that. Again, go to the School of Music and Dance website and click on the Apply menu item, and it will explain it all to you. And then for minors, there's also an application, but it's a very simple, easy process.
Well, and Jackson, I would add that the university's degree requirements will ensure that you take classes in other schools and colleges across campus. So you will take classes in the College of Arts and Sciences or business or journalism, any number of places that you'll have a chance to explore while you're here at the U of O. Bob, so Jessica is asking us live, can you change/explore majors in the School of Music and Dance?
Absolutely. And in fact, with most of our majors, not all of them, but with most of our majors, at least the 4-year programs, the first 2 years are really similar. And the reason we do that is to allow some room for people to explore. And they might not want to end up doing the same major that they started with. Actually, I'll have to say my 35-year-old son is a great example. He started out in sort of as a general major, and then ended up getting involved in early music. So he plays these old ancient instruments like viola da gamba. I did not see that coming, but it was a direct consequence. It was a direct consequence of him exploring and learning things and finding out he had this interest in something he didn't even know he had it in.
That's awesome. And we're going to hear from one of our current students who I think had a similar change of major epiphany during the course of her first year during her music program. So Haley is asking live, what would you recommend for virtual audition videos for out-of-state applications?
Um, if you will go to that School of Music and Dance website and click on the apply button, and then undergraduate music, we have, you'll find a link that shows all of the audition requirements depending on what your voice or instrument is. And it's quite specific in what they would like you to put on that video. And it varies from discipline to discipline. Our voice people, want maybe one thing. Our oboe teacher, wants a different type of thing. So just check that link.
Perfect. Thank you, Bob. So Carmen is asking us live, is it possible to tie your major into music? I'm planning to be a psychology major, but would love to minor in vocal work.
Well, we have quite a few students from other disciplines who will minor or simply take coursework that interests them within the School of Music. And we certainly have people in the Honors College who have done projects that are music related as well. So I think one of the things we pride ourselves in is, the flexibility and the ability for students to kind of maximize their time here on campus. So if they want to do a deep dive into the musical elements or, just kind of taste, we have offerings for everyone.
Okay, so Journey is asking us live, my school didn't offer good music classes besides band, so I don't have a ton of experience beside being self-taught. Do I still have a chance?
You have a chance, but what we always want to set people up for success. So there's without going into too much detail, because it kind of depends on the experience, of the student. But for sometimes one of those 2-year degrees is the way to go, because they don't require as much background when they get here. If someone really wants to do a degree like performance or music education or something like that, then we will sometimes even recommend possibly even some community college background just to get up to speed so you're not behind when you get here. But if you contact us, we'll talk through it and try to figure out what the best path for success is, because everybody's background is so different.
Well, and you don't want to limit anybody's passion for music, right, Bob?
No, not at all. That's just it. That's just it.
Okay, so our last question that we have time for is from Tony, who's asking us live during the program. If you apply to the music program and are not accepted, can you pursue a different major while still taking music major classes and then reapply to be a major for the program?
Absolutely. And we have students that do that all the time. They might not be admitted the first time around, so they just do that same School of Music application the next year. And then I would say every year, probably on average 10 to 12 students every year come from the U of O community. One thing that's important to remember, and we can help you with this, we can discuss this. If you've started your first year and you want to do one of those 4-year degrees, it can add time to your degree. So it's something we want to talk about to make sure that we stay within your time frame and budget, in terms of how long you want to be on campus. And there are all kinds of ways to work with that, but it's best if we chat about that.
A quick follow-up on that. Are the application deadlines the same for a student who's currently a U of O student as opposed to someone who's currently a senior in high school?
Basically, yes, January 15th. There is a slightly nuanced thing where people that are on campus who want to apply for one of those 2-year programs, there are some additional deadlines. But for someone who wants to do one of those 4-year degrees, January 15th for everybody. I should add for anybody that's doing audition, don't panic. You don't have to have your audition video ready by January 15th. That's not due till around February 5th or 7th or thereabouts. So you got a little bit of time.
Perfect. I'm sure that will decrease a little bit of the anxiety for some of the students. That is all the time that we have for questions in this segment. And of course, Bob, you're awesome. You're the best. And I want to thank you for your time and helping our prospective Ducks see if the U of O is a good fit for them.
Thanks so much, Cora. And go Ducks.
Our next guest is Paolo Danielle. Paolo is the Assistant Director of Student Services in the School of Journalism and Communication. He also has a colleague in the Q&A answering questions as well, and he'll answer some of your questions live after his presentation. Hi, Paolo.
Hi, Cora. Thank you for the introduction. I
Of
am
course.
very excited to be here with you and all of you, and I'm excited to introduce you to the School of Journalism and Communication at the University of Oregon, because this is the home of curious, creative, and tenacious ducks who are passionate about telling stories that matter and are passionate about changing the world for the better. And I hope this resonates with you because we want you to join our flock. When you join us, you will be in great company. Here you will meet talented undergraduate and graduate students with a wide range of skills and interests, from advertising creatives to driven journalists and gifted filmmakers, from sharp media researchers to passionate public relations strategists. And to bring it all together, our international renowned faculty are award-winning scholars. They are industry professionals. They are innovators in advertising, journalism, media studies, and public relations. In the classroom, they are passionate and inspirational teachers. And out in the field, they are researchers and really dedicated mentors who help students build real world skills and develop strong networks in the industry. This is an industry that is continuously evolving. And one ancient Greek philosopher got it right when they wrote that the only constant in life is change. And this is definitely true in the media and creative industries. So you see that every day, right? There is no end to the technological innovations or the ongoing democratization of content creation on new apps and social media platforms. And so the way that stories are told now is very different than it was 30, 20, and even 5 years ago. So that said, storytelling careers are in high demand. And in today's world, they've never been more important and more complex. And preparing you for that world is what drives us. In this globally and digitally interconnected world, all learners need new career skills and knowledge. And we strongly believe that communication, collaboration, critical thinking, and creativity are more important now than ever before, because they guarantee that you can thrive and compete in a world where change is constant and learning really never stops. So, our goal is for you to enter the global market as an effective communicator, an engaged professional, a nimble critical thinker, and a digital literate and globally aware professional. So for our 2,400 students, we achieve this with a fully collaborative community and hands-on opportunities to put your new skills into practice. But once you graduate, no matter what path you choose, you will be career ready. And so here are our four majors. We offer advertising. So you might be wondering, isn't advertising simply business? Well, advertising is no longer just about selling products. Advertising professionals are strategic about using a story to create connections between a brand and its audiences. In this major, you will build core skills in design thinking, media planning, and brand management, and you will come out with a portfolio to prove it. We got journalism. At the SOJC, our journalism major prepares you to work with communities, find solutions for society's problems, and inspire action. So you will develop the skills to tell an ethical, accurate, and compelling story in any medium while exploring new communication forms. So because of this, journalism acts as an umbrella major where you can pursue a variety of interests, including broadcasting, reporting, writing, documentary and videography, and photojournalism. And the stories you choose to tell can match your own passion and interest. It could be sports, politics, social justice, environmental issues, just to name a few. Then we got media studies. Here you will explore how media works and how it impacts society. You will develop analytical, critical thinking, and research skills. They are all skills in high demand by top employers. Our media studies graduate our media studies graduates, they often go on to graduate school. They could become professors and land jobs in media, government, law, entertainment, and education. Finally, we offer public relations. If you're passionate about connecting people and building relationships, public relations may be the ideal communication field for you. In our program, you will learn how to think strategically, communicate persuasively, and develop actionable plans, and proactively manage client issues. So your journey starts as a pre-SOJC major. In your first year, you will take the media professions course where you will explore careers in today's creative and media economy. And you will then learn the fundamentals of digital storytelling in our innovative Gateway to Media course. And you'll become an integral part of the tight-knit SOJC community. Then you will be ready to choose from among our four majors to find the career path that best fits your schedule and your unique passions and goals. You will gain professional skills as well as theory knowledge while balancing elective, minor, and core education classes. And then to bring them all together, our majors can give you a capstone experience in your senior year. So, no matter which major or majors you choose, you will learn a lot in the classroom, and then you will go out in the world and apply it. Whether you define the world as your local community or some far corner of the globe, you will be there telling meaningful stories and networking with industry experts. You'll be collaborating in teams, completing duties as required, and dealing with the messy reality of reality, the kind of professional experience that your future boss will be asking you about. And we have all the tools, the activities, and programs to get you prepared for that kind of future. So, for example, in Allen Hall at the main campus, you can find an immersive media lab where you will have the chance to work with faculty to explore immersive reality technology, one of the newest ways of communicating. Here you can learn about and experiment with emerging technologies like virtual reality, augmented reality, and 360-degree video. Also, in Allen Hall, we have a self-contained photo and video studio with a control room and professional quality lighting, sound, and video systems. This is where you will produce and screen your own visual pieces and where you will have access to state-of-the-art editing base with the latest high-tech video tools. In addition, we have a wonderful equipment checkout facility which loans professional cameras and production equipment for free, including audio recorders, microphones, digital cameras, DSLR lenses, lighting kits, tripods, and more, all for free. Now, Allen Hall also features a social media lab, which will allow you to track social media analytics in real time. But you will want to dig deeper than that. You will want to know what is creating or feeding these social media trends. You will want to know how data can drive better content decisions. In the social media lab, you will explore these questions while sharing your work and making connections around the world. We also have state-of-the-art technology to create top-notch audio experiences. Our podcast studio will allow you to refine your oral storytelling abilities while gaining experience in one of the fastest growing media forms. And with over 30 student groups, there really is something for everyone here, ranging from student-run agencies and publications to U of O chapters of national organizations. So joining a student organization is a great way to get professional development, a great way to add professional level work to your portfolio and network with leaders in the field. And of course, you will have access to even more experience and U of O groups outside of the SOGC, where you can bring your communication or content creation experience or further develop your professional skills. After all, communication skills are on demand in all fields that you can imagine. At the SOGC, we want you to take your adventures out in the real world. And for that reason, we have created many opportunities for you to get involved, to network, and to gain valuable skills in and outside of the US. So for example, you will have the opportunity to join other students and faculty in the field to report on the effects of climate change. You could be creating campaigns about composting organic waste in Ghana, Africa, or reporting on rising sea levels on the Oregon coast, or on disappearing salmon in Alaska. Through these experiences, you will learn how to communicate about and find solutions for the complex environmental issues facing our society today. Another example of our experiential opportunities is the New York City experience, which brings advertising majors to New York City to meet with professionals at some of the world's top ad agencies and participate in Creative Week events. During this trip, you will be able to network with industry professionals, find mentors, and basically lay the groundwork for a successful internship and possibly a career. As new students, you will have the chance to participate in programs specifically tailored for you. We have first year interest groups, or FIGs, which bring together students who share your interests. FIG students take 2 core education courses all together, along with a seminar course led by a faculty member who connects course content to relevant topics and issues. For transfer students, we offer seminars where we discuss strategies for developing productive relationships with faculty and fellow students, understanding academic requirements, completing your U of O education in a timely manner, and gaining experience outside the classroom to successfully enter the job market at graduation. We are also very proud of our Media and Social Action ARC, or Academic Residential Community, which is a 1-year commitment where students live together in a residence hall and take courses together. Here you will learn about social justice at the local and national level, engage in dialogue about social justice issues in the classroom, and tell stories that reach diverse audiences through a student-driven digital publication. Now, the SOJC awards more than 150 scholarships each year for a total of approximately $500,000. Many of these are made possible by donations from alumni who have been moved to give back. And once you're admitted as an SOJC student, you'll be eligible to apply for these additional awards. Now, if you would like to continue this conversation, ask more questions, take a virtual tour, or speak with one of our staff or student ambassadors, simply give us a call or send us an email. The Student Services Center, which is the office I am a proud member of, is your one-step shop for both academic and career building advice. And we would truly love to connect with you. That said, I think we have some time for 1 or 2 questions that may have come up in the chat. Do you have anything for me, Cora?
We do, and thank you so much. So Blake submitted a question prior to this program and is indicating that they're interested in broadcast journalism and wants to know, is our general journalism program good for broadcast journalism as well?
I appreciate your interest in the exciting field of journalism, Blake. But to answer your question, yes. Within the journalism major, we have specific course offerings focused on broadcasting, TV news, digital video projection, and broadcasting in general. We also have a new podcasting studio, as I mentioned. And at the same time, students can take classes and focus broadcasting projects on specific interest areas such as political, sports, arts, entertainment. And in addition to academics, we will get you ready to be able to build up your experience because broadcast journalism is, after all, a competitive and evolving industry. So what this means, it means you getting involved with our organizations, as I mentioned, but also getting out of your comfort zone and go for internship positions at newsrooms, radio stations, or news organizations. We will help you network. In this industry, your connections will really get you through some very important doors. So it's important that you make these connections and keep nurturing them. And at the same time, we know that the reality is that aspiring broadcasters who know how to shoot video and how to edit video stories and podcasts will have a big competitive edge. And bottom line, we have all the tools, the equipment, the training, and the professionals in our staff to make you into an expert when it comes to these technical skills and be a great broadcaster.
Thank you for that. I also have the great pleasure of supervising students throughout the year, and several of them are part of Duck TV, which is sponsored by the J School, but student-run broadcast, is it not?
That's correct. Totally is. Student-led, student broadcast, and student edited.
Fantastic. Okay, so Evelyn has asked us, what kind of assignments would the journalism program have? Any examples?
Yeah, Evelyn, I appreciate this question because it really speaks to what I mentioned earlier, the balance between academic and professional skills that make up our style of education. So with journalism, for example, you can work on digital and multimedia work, like filming documentaries, creating visual stories for your portfolio or for a blog or for one of the publications we have. With advertising, your assignments will revolve around strategy, brand strategy, design, media analysis. For public relations, your assignments will also revolve around strategy. It's a different kind, of course, but also involves planning, creating connections. And finally, media studies, your assignments will revolve around media analysis, research, media coordination. So there's a lot of overlap, of course, but that is what it looks like in the real world. So we really try to mirror that reality as much as possible in our academics.
Awesome. Okay, so Isabel asked us a great question ahead of time. Isabel wants to know, what are our study abroad programs in the SOJC? I know that you listed some of them, but can you expand a little bit on those?
Yeah, I appreciate your interest in thinking globally, Isabel. I am personally all for it. All SOJC students can participate in the U of O's study abroad programs, whether they are faculty-led programs or studying at one of our centers abroad, or going on an exchange program at one of the many universities around the world that we are partners of. You can do that to learn new skills like a language or to complete academic requirements or even journalism requirements. So the SOJC specifically does have a few specific programs that our advertising, PR, media studies, and journalism students like to join. Those I'd like to mention are the Media in Ghana, Africa, which will fully immerse you in local media, full hands-on experience. We also have a program on cross-border interviewing and story development that's typically set in Oviedo, Spain, and in Porto, Portugal. And we have a very popular journalism program based in London, which will immerse you in obviously British communications in the media scene, but also inserts you in the political and the arts scene in London, and obviously a lot more in such an exciting and cosmopolitan city like London.
Yeah, no, the opportunities that you all have abroad are pretty amazing. And, I know of many of the domestic experiential learning opportunities that students have too. So it seems like the opportunities are endless within your school. So Lincoln asked us ahead of time, what makes the academics different from other universities?
That's a great question. The SOGC is focused on helping students build well-rounded skill sets in all forms of communication and storytelling. So what's special about the SOGC is that it emphasizes a balance, a good balance between theory and experiential learning or project-based learning. So this will make you truly career ready right after you walk that stage with cap and gown. Through our program, you will build industry connections, you will create really good portfolio pieces, and you will have the chance to really build up your experience before you graduate. Through clubs, organizations, the classwork, and the trips and the workshops that I mentioned, such as the New York trip, the San Francisco trip, our in-house ad agency, and so forth. So all these things will really make you career ready, and I think that's making you career ready is exactly what makes us unique.
Well, that's all the time that we have for questions this afternoon, Paolo. I really appreciate your being here today and working with us through the technical difficulties and all of the information that you provided to our prospective ducks.
Thank you, Cora, and thank everyone for coming here today.
Our first guest today is Dr. Alison Schmitke. Alison is the undergraduate degree program director for educational foundations within the college. While Alison is presenting, a few of her colleagues are answering your questions in the Q&A. and we'll have her answer some more of those questions on camera. Hi, Alison. How are you?
Hi, Cora. I'm doing well. Thank you.
Take it away.
Okay, thank you. Well, welcome everyone, and thank you again for joining us today. There are over 2,000 students and faculty in the College of Education. We are organized by 4 departments, offering 14 programs. Notably, we are ranked number 4 among public graduate schools in education in the nation. Our graduates work in a number of professions where their impact touches not only the lives and futures of individuals, but also their families and communities. If you plan to become a teacher, clinician, human service provider, or special educator, you will find a diverse array of learning opportunities at the University of Oregon College of Education. Today, I'm going to share with you an overview of the undergraduate programs at our college. These programs are Educational Foundations, Communication Disorders, Family and Human Services, and Special Education. We'll start with Educational Foundations. For students interested in being an elementary or secondary teacher, the Educational Foundations program is designed for them. The purpose of the program is to develop students' understanding of the sophisticated expertise of teachers. The focus is on social justice in education, the relationship between theory and practice, and supporting the development of teacher leaders. For future elementary teachers, pathways to teaching include majoring in EDF and adding an optional second major or minor. For example, many students will add a second major or minor in the areas of ethnic studies, Indigenous studies, second language, or special education. For future secondary teachers, students major in the subject area they want to teach with the option of adding their certificate in EDF to develop their knowledge of teaching and learning. At the University of Oregon, teacher licensure occurs at the graduate level. Most Educational Foundation students will roll into the 5th year licensure master's program we call UO Teach. Faculty teaching in the EDF program, along with colleagues across the college, are nationally and internationally recognized for teaching, research, and scholarship. These areas of expertise directly inform the pedagogy and content of classes. Listed here are the introductory EDF courses typically completed during the 1st and 2nd year. A signature part of the EDF experience are opportunities for experiential learning, such as classroom observation and experiences in community organizations supporting families. There are opportunities for students to join faculty-led research projects, and EDF students participate in 2 annual regional education conferences hosted by the department, UO Teach In the fall and UO Teach Out in the spring. Most students completing the Educational Foundations major will continue to a teacher education graduate program, notably UO Teach. Others will continue as graduate students in related areas in education. Some students enter the field right away. Exploring all options begins the junior year. Let's talk about communication disorders. This major is the foundation for students to pursue the graduate studies that will lead to a career as an audiologist or speech pathologist. The CDS major is organized by a cohort in which students progress through upper division courses together. This slide presents a window into the types of courses students majoring in CDS complete during the program. Students learn from specialists across the fields of speech pathology, and audiology, many of them working concurrently in research or clinical settings. A common theme you'll hear today is the importance of experiential learning to programs in the College of Education. In CDS, students engage in a wide range of applied experiences located on and off the university campus. These experiences extend student understanding of the field. Most students completing the CDS major will continue as graduate students in speech pathology and audiology. If students continue in the graduate program at the UO, they will be accredited speech-language pathologists. The CDS program also prepares students for careers in special education and early intervention. Next, I will share about Family and Human Services. Students who pursue this major will support the health and well-being of communities, families, and individuals through the development of prevention programs and through direct advocacy and delivery of services. There are two distinct pathways: direct services intensive and prevention sciences. The direct services intensive pathway allows students to adapt their education to focus on gaining applied experiences in the delivery of human services. The prevention science pathway allows students to adapt their education to focus on applying research to health promotion and prevention. In addition to taking rigorous, interesting classes, FHS majors apply developing knowledge in research lab or community agency practicum settings. Student study and application of human service skills help serve those in our communities across the country. Here are examples of courses that FHS majors complete during their program. Similar to other undergraduate programs in the college, there is a direct link between courses and real-world application. Students in the College of Education are active learners as they develop knowledge to transform conceptions about professional practices and problems. This slide lists options FHS students are immediately qualified for after graduation. As you can see, the FHS major is a highly versatile major, with alumni working in positions such as case managers, human services liaisons, or youth outreach workers. FHS majors can specialize and advance their career with graduate training. FHS is preparation for graduate school in areas such as counseling psychology, couples and family therapy, and prevention science. The major is for students who want to advance social justice by promoting the health and well-being of children, families, and communities. Lastly today, I'll share about the special education minor or certificate. The minor or certificate provides foundational knowledge for students interested in a career in special education or those wanting to learn more about issues concerning people with special needs. The minor includes options for experiences in a range of settings. Students will gain direct experience working with individuals with disabilities, along with opportunities to join faculty research projects. The minor is preparation for graduate or licensure programs in areas listed here. The courses and practicum focus on areas such as characteristics of learners and services, cutting-edge assessment techniques, and evidence-based approaches to designing and delivering instruction. That concludes my overview of undergraduate programs in the College of Education. Cora, I am ready to answer viewer questions.
Thank you so much, Alison. I'm sure that you provided a ton of information, and we do have some questions that came in from students when they registered for the program and some that are coming in live. So I'll let you know which are which so that we can make sure that students can hear their questions get asked. During registration, Audrey asked us, should aspiring secondary school teachers major in education or major in the field they want to teach?
This is a helpful question. So future secondary teachers major in the area they want to teach. And so they'll focus in math or biology or social studies. And then we have a suite of classes that complement that study in teacher education in the Educational Foundation Certificate.
Perfect, thank you. Marella asked actually is asking us live, should your minor be related to your major?
It does not have to be, but what I think students are surprised by, the way in which their minor does complement an Educational Foundations major. So we can always make connections and think about those interests in terms of how to prepare future teachers.
During registration, Alexandria asked us, how are the class schedules and are there any required classes that all students must take?
The lower division classes, and this is true across the college, the lower division courses are the foundation for the upper division. So all of the majors in the College of Education, much like across campus, have a clear coherency in curriculum. So you're building up as you go through each level of the courses. So, and courses vary in time in terms of day and time, but mostly during the daytime.
Perfect, thank you. Actually, if I can ask a quick follow-up, how does the in that first year or so, how do the major-oriented classes relate to sort of the non-major classes, the core curriculum classes that a student might also take? What's the ratio?
So I'm familiar with FHS and educational foundations, and I believe that I know in Ed Foundations, 2 courses that apply to the core education requirement, and that's EDST 111, Education and Social Change, which is a social science a course, and then EDST 225, School and Representation in Film, which is a course that is called DIA on this campus.
Oh, fantastic! Thank you. Okay. Why would one choose a certificate instead of a minor? That's coming into us live from a student named Cora.
Wonderful. The certificate is an extended minor. That's kind of how I think of it. And we did that so that there are undergrad courses in both the certificate and the major that roll into UO Teach. And so that certificate includes those credits that help a student roll right into the graduate program.
Thank you. During the registration, Morgan asked us about credentials for those who might apply for jobs in other states. So the specific question is, do you get a teaching degree for all of the states if you do not live in Oregon?
So licensure occurs at the end of the UO Teach program. So we can think of it as a package going from educational foundations into UO Teach. And the Oregon license is transferable, much like other states for teachers who are coming into our state.
And do you all help students with that licensure if they're going to be leaving the state after they earn that degree?
Yes, we do. And many students will do it concurrently with applying for their Oregon license. So they may be licensed in multiple states.
Oh, perfect. Okay, Lauren is asking us live, can you tell me more about teaching English as a second language and what classes one can take for that?
Yes, we work closely with the Department of Linguistics. And so my knowledge of that would be to know who to send a student to find out more details about that. But we do have students who find that the education major or the options in the undergraduate program do complement the training in linguistics for students who want to do that.
Perfect. Okay, so the last question that we have time for is coming in from Marlene and came in submitted during the registration. And Marlene is asking, will I be credentialed? Pardon me, let me start over. Will I be a credentialed teacher when I graduate with my undergraduate degree?
So this is my response to students who ask the question about why come here for the undergraduate degree. And my advice is always to maximize your options. So the Educational Foundations and UO Teach package results in a deep dive into subject matter knowledge, a clear set of teaching skills informed by culturally sustaining pedagogy, and an ESOL endorsement that is embedded in the teacher license, and a master's degree. So our graduates who we support through to be teacher leaders hit the field ready to go, and they join about 76% of Oregon teachers who hold master's degrees. It positions them very strongly to advance their careers. In addition, I think something that kind of is unique about the college or the Ed Studies department is that we work with students from their first year of being on campus, all the way through Ed Foundations, through UO Teach, and then we support our alumni. So we have a really big network where our teachers and our graduates are finding themselves landing for their first few years of teaching.
Perfect. Thank you so much. That's all the time that we have for questions in this segment. And again, all of the information that you provided to our prospective ducks, I'm sure is invaluable to them. So thank you so much for your time this afternoon. I know that it's a busy week around here with finals and everything. So we're really grateful.
Well, thank you. And I appreciate being here.